we are going to talk about one of the hardest things that honestly I feel like I've ever had to do today. Stick with us, it's going to be good. You are enjoying the Step Out and Thrive podcast. Welcome back to the Step Out and Thrive podcast. And if you are one of those people that continually pour out and wonder when you walk into a room if anybody actually sees you or notices who you are beneath the hat that you wear every day, you are in the right place. I constantly work with pastors and care workers and counselors and coaches, those who are really even owning their own business, and they're being seen for what they do and not for who they are. And a lot of times we can get lost in that. So imagine a community, a close-knit community where you get to see the same people week in and week out. And it's a safe place for you to just share and be and go on that discovery process and what God is doing in your life and celebrate wins and be with each other when it really gets hard and press forward in the goals that God has already called us to do. Well, if that sounds like something you want to be a part of, you are in the right place. Here's the Step Out and Thrive podcast. And we are currently going through my book, my newest book, which is called Step Out and Thrive, Finding God in the Everyday When Nothing Makes Sense. Wow, that just seems like so amazing. I love this cover right here. It's the cover of the book. If you were here last week, you got some inside detail about why the cover is the way it is. So if that gives you any experience to go back and watch. But if you don't want to and you want to start today, that's totally fine. The first letter of Thrive is T, but what it stands for in this context is through. We have to decide that we want to go through the storm. We don't want to numb it. We don't want to run away from it. We don't want to do a Jonah thing, right? We actually want to go through the storm, but we're not going through it alone, right? We're going through, and then the H is Him. We're going through the storm with Him. And then here's the thing. We talked about last week about who is God. Who is God? Who is the He? Who is He to you? Who does He say that you are? We go really deep into that in the book, and there's a lot of activities after each chapter that you can actually do. You don't have to do all of them, but I wanted to put some real action steps there for us to really experience that together. The R, and this is the hard word. You guys ready? You with me? Take a deep breath if you need it. You ready? The R is receive. Oh, right? I just noticed I lost some people there, right? I lost myself there when I first really sat with this. I was like, oh, no, any other word but that. Because honestly, when we think about the word thrive, I don't know if you really thought about it, but when I first thought of the idea of thrive, it was like the Rocky soundtrack was in the back of my mind, right? I felt like, yes, with God, all things are possible. I just have to push harder, right? Because God is calling us to do more. Really, thriving is about receiving more and doing less. Let that sink in. And if you're hearing that like screeching of brakes in the back of your head right now, that's totally fine. And some of you guys are like, I don't even know where to move forward from here. That's totally fine too. You see, here's the thing. Those of us that pour out continually, that one of the hardest things for us to learn how to do is receive. It is so hard. And I'm not going to go into all the logistics of that, but just know that if you're hitting the brakes right now and if you're just like wanting to tell me off, just know that you're not alone, that you're in the majority actually. And so I just want you to know, if you're listening to this and going, I don't even know if I can go farther, just stick with me just long enough. Get the book. It really does go a lot slower and calmer through this than I'm doing right now. But I kind of just want to get your feet wet and what this could look like. The receive story that I share in this specific chapter, I really enjoyed it because, and again, I share several stories in all the chapters. So I can't even remember for sure if I got it in this exact chapter. But when I think of receive, I always think of this moment. I was on the couch with, I think, all of my boys at one point, and this was years ago. Okay, so this wasn't even back in the day when I was trying to do this acronym and trying to think about, what God wants to do you to thrive for. None of that was happening, okay? But I was sitting here and we were watching America's Funniest Home Videos, which I know is like AFV now. Sidebar, does anybody remember the OG, as my kids call it, America's Funniest Home Videos with like Bob Saget? Right? And it was on like, I think it was like on a Sunday. Like, I always liked it, but it was one of those moments where I'm like, oh, after the end of this show, I have to go to bed. So I kind of had that love-hate relationship with it for a while. But I loved the show. I love the videos. And I don't even know if it's a thing anymore. I think it is still. It's called YouTube. No. I know it is a thing. But anyway, I'm not going to go into all that. This was, I think, one of the newer versions of that show. And it showed this little ring bear, which, I mean, oh my goodness, like there's so many things. Me as a mom of boys, like we've had the ring bear thing happen, okay? And so this little boy, who's the cutest little boy ever, he had honestly, this tux that he was wearing was a little too big, which I thought like, okay, he's gonna like lose his pants or something. Like that's literally what I was thinking. But he goes and he kind of goes up to the front. And all of a sudden, this ring goes in his jacket, right? And it gets lost. And it was just so funny watching this happen. Trying to find this kid, like, look and try to find the ring and finding out where it goes. And I think it came out like one of his pant legs. And that was funny enough. But it actually, because while all this was happening, you could hear the pastor asking these questions. And he was like, to the wife, do you take so-and-so? But instead of take, he said this, do you receive so-and-so as your husband? And he asked the husband, do you receive so-and-so as your wife? Receive. And I remember at the time that kind of caught me off. I'm like, oh, maybe that's the funny part. Because what do you normally hear? You normally hear take, right? But this guy said receive. And honest to goodness, that is what marriage is, right? We're receiving. We're not taking. God has given us to one another. We are receiving. That's huge. We like the idea of taking what's ours, right? Truth is, God gave us breath. Truth is, God gave us this moment here on earth. We're receiving. God has made us to receive. But it's really hard to give up that control, isn't it? In order to receive, you have to open your hand and let go of something. You see why this word brings up so many different emotions? Do you see why this word is so hard? There's a lot in here. I really encourage you, if this is the part where you just kind of like, just kind of like want to find yourself to even turn this episode off, but you keep listening, I really do encourage you to get this book. Because again, I wish I had like hours on here, but I don't. That's why I wrote the book. So I really do encourage you to grab the book and start reading through some of that. Maybe not even with yourself, maybe with other people. And to really wrestle with this idea of receiving, what that could look like for you. What would it look like to actually walk through the storms of life with God and being able to receive and feeling life-giving, still in the hard, still in the unknown, but to actually feel like you are becoming more alive in the middle of it. That is possible. That really is possible. And that's what we're going to talk about more. And yes, there's still some more letters. And you guys are like, oh my goodness, Bethany, we're only 3 letters in there. What could possibly be next? It's okay. It is coming. And there is some more. So with that all being said, really look forward to seeing you guys next week. And also, if you're one of those people like, you're just like, I just need to talk to somebody. Like, I need to walk through this with somebody. I don't know if I'm ready to get the book, but I would like to talk to you. Well, I can be found in the community. In fact, there's even a free tier. All you have to do is go to community.stepoutandthrive.com and you can join at the free tier. And every week we have this podcast that you can comment on. You can go in there and join in the discussion. There might be none. There might be a couple different people. It's not a huge community, but it's not on Facebook either, which I really like. I need a place off of Facebook, if you know what I mean. So if you're looking for a really good community that's really private, honestly, and it's a great place to connect. It might be a good starting point for you, or just buy the book, or do both. But love to have you. Just know that you're not on this journey alone, that we want to journey with you. As always, dare to do more than just survive, step out and thrive. See you guys back here next week. Bye. Thanks for enjoying today's Step Out and Thrive podcast, the one place that you can always count to dare to do more than just survive, to step out and thrive. As always, for more information, please check out BethanyBJoy.com or StepOutandThrive.com.